Howdy doody everybody. In today's video we're going to be talking about my Teostra build. A couple of you guys have been asking about it since I did a PvP video with the boy Paradise, who's actually here today to talk about his very demise, which is my Teostra.
He's brought me to talk about the monster that clumped me in PvP. Can you believe? By the way, I looked at, you can actually see on your rider card your PvP stats. I have a 75% win rate.
Nah, look, he's trying to flex.
It's on. I posted it on Twitter. Pull up the tweet. Pull up the tweet.
No, he's trying to flex on me.
The one time we record is the one time I lose.
Nah, don't worry about that. I did say at the start of that video I wasn't feeling confident I was gonna win. We came out clutch. So
it was a good win, to be fair.
So obviously we've got our Tay here. He is ready to go and ready to roar in. We're going to talk through some stuff. This is not my optimal and final form of my Teostra, but it's still a strong Teostra, by the way. I've only recently been able to get duplicates so I can move the abilities around, the core abilities. This is the one that I got my very first Teostra, my baby, here. So I just need to obviously change some slots around and get those bingos on the run and everything, but the skills will probably remain the same aside from a few that I need to change out, but this will give you a nice place to start out on, and we can talk through them, and then Paradise can talk about some skills that he has on his Tay.
You know what, before we jump into just the skills, I want to say I think part of the reason why Teostra is very strong in this game, both PvE and PvP, is because his elemental weakness is water, and there is no water Elder Dragon in the game right now. So it's like, okay, what can you use against Teostra? A water monster. Probably the best water monster right now is a Mizu, and just core stat wise, they just don't compare very well. Like Teostra is going to be ahead in like every bracket pretty much. So it's like, okay, I can't really spec a particular monster against Teostra because like water monsters aren't all that good right now, at least in comparison to Elder Dragon stats, which seem to be higher than other monsters, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing is that I think his scaling is, which goes against that even more. His scaling is like one of the better of the Elder Dragons, I think, because when I look at my Teostra's attack and health and defense, it's pretty much higher than all my other ones, even my Nergigante. And they're built the same, you know. 560
is insane, because I know you were saying like your Nerg was like 550, so 560 attack on my Teostra is like pretty nasty as well. You get these numbers by using nutrients, and if you want to know how to get nutrients, you can go watch Paradise's video from yesterday where he teaches you how to farm all that stuff. They are essential. Watch that video if you don't know how to get all of your nutrients and your attack up and your defense up and your elemental up.
You're gonna need a lot of them too. You want it on every monster basically that you're gonna use,
and your hunter as well. So if you feel like you're not doing a lot of damage, this might be one of the reasons. So let's get into the skills. So first up, we have Ignition Breath, which I'm actually thinking that I might change out. Simply because I have two moves that essentially do the same thing, and I kind of want to change out one of the abilities here so that I can have something that is akin to like Flame Up, or I think it's Fire Up or Heat Up ability that increases the fire damage on the monster for like the next 3 turns. There is a Flame Aura from I think it's the Azure Rathalos has it, that adds a burn effect, but I don't feel like after you apply burn that you don't. I think
Glavenus has a skill where it like boosts his fire attack. You know, when he like chomps on his tail. I think it's that skill, and you can take that off of him, I'm pretty sure. I will say I actually already removed Ignition Breath from my Teostra. I put a different technical attack skill on there that did burning instead. And although he's got Supernova that burns, you'll be hard pressed to find like fire skills that don't do either burn or blast spike, so you kind of have to commit.
It's just kind of just there, but obviously this does have like the point of like instantly causing blast bite, but if you've got another move on there that can do that, then it's not really like a huge issue. Next up, the go-to move that makes Teostra work, and this is Bombing Run. If you don't have Bombing Run on your Teostra, I feel like you are personally doing it wrong. Maybe the meta might develop further, and maybe I'm talking rubbish here, but right now, as someone that's been testing in PvP against my buddy and against others, bombing run is such an essential move, and it's quite easy to kind of get going. It's only like 26 points, and once you do, it does mad damage or crazy damage on things that are fire weak, and it can cause blast bite as well. It does multiple ticks. It's very good as well for like clearing off people in PvP. It will hit both of them. I know Paradise probably has nightmares.
I hate this move. I hate this move so much. You want to know what's? I'm actually triggered. Okay, and let me tell you why.
Why?
You haven't plussed that move
I know.
at all. And that move clomps me in PvP. That does half of my monster's health. Doesn't matter what the monster is. Does half of my health. One of us is now blast blighted. I have to heal. I have to remove status. I need to still be attacking. It's an actual nightmare to play against it. And even if you're like, you try and be big brain, like I like to think that I tried and be in PvP. I'm like, oh, he's got Teostra out. Is he going to do a power move, or is he going to do the bombing raid, which is a speed type move? So I'm like, okay, if I do a tech move and you've done a power move, I'm dead. All right. Yeah. So I have to do a speed move, because then if you do power, I win. If you do bombing raid, we draw head to head, and you don't do as much damage. So it's horrible to play against when it's on Teostra, because of that scenario where you're so afraid to do technical moves. Because I know you've got Supernova and you've got other power moves in your arsenal. I'm really surprised you haven't plussed it. I hate it so much, I actually put it on my Teostra after you used it on me.
Obviously, there are moves that cause blast bite, but I feel like this is the best one. It's basically just taking it off of your Basil and plopping it on this anyway. And then the other one is Ignition Flare, which is what I was talking about. I have two moves that essentially do the same thing, and this is more of like Teostra's like innate ignition ability, which I might keep on, but it was super expensive. It's like 40H, right? But it causes heavy fire damage.
Heavy to all though. Yeah. It's a good AoE, and it will pop. So this is a thing that isn't immediately obvious. When it says causes blast blight, that actually means that it will detonate blast blight. It doesn't mean it will apply it. It will just, if they have it, it will immediately pop it. Yeah, so if you do that move on something with blast blight, especially in PvP, they're just gonna die. Like, it does too much damage to stop. That being said, you could put in something like Detonate, which I think is Uragan's move, which is like only costs like 10 and does the same thing but with less damage and single target. So
then we have Soul Kinship, which we were talking about before the video actually started. Paradise was not putting respect on its name, essentially, and Soul Kinship...
No, we gotta debate this. Okay? I had this move like maxed out on pretty much all of my monsties.
Yeah.
And I took them off, and I don't feel like I've noticed a big drop in kinship charge. It could just be my anecdotal brain. It could be that I've been doing a bit more PvE lately, and you do get a lot of charge in PvE anyway, so it's not as noticeable. But this was a skill that I committed to very early. Maybe that was the key to my early success against U26. I had this on all my monsties. Because
it always felt like you had bar, basically, all the time, and I was like, why is this guy doing, like, calamity slashes and arachnophobia like all the time? Maybe that was it. Like, it's such a passive thing that you don't necessarily think about. But with Teostra in particular, you can literally see the bar go from 0 to full, like to nearly full, and it's just like, what is going on here? I have enough for my Supernova, I have enough for all of my other like huge attacks. So I wouldn't say it's essential, but I definitely feel like it's a nice thing to have on there. Maybe you can swap it out for something else, or anything else that would work here. Maybe like a anti-status or whatever that will really make it function really nice alongside the other moves in there. But let's go on to the next thing. I've got Heroics. Do you have Heroics on any of your monsters?
This is a move that I have been, and there are other variants of this, like Crit Chance and all that I've been really thinking about and considering, because there are scenarios where your monster is like just below 50% and can do a big attack, and if that buff is enough to make it a one-shot kill, especially in PvP, then it's definitely worth it. But I haven't tested it to know, so I haven't committed it on my monsters yet. But what have you been finding with this?
I don't know, because it's so hard to essentially test, but maybe this is why my bombing run is hitting so hard, right? Maybe it's this in conjunction with my bombing run once I'm on low health, like, because most of the time when I do the bombing run, it's like, you've attacked me, we're both on like low health, and I'm just like, here's a YOLO scenario of me like throwing out bombing runs. So maybe this, in conjunction with that, is making it hit like crazy in terms of like the damage output. But heroics, we obviously need to investigate more. If anybody knows exactly how much it boosts or has the numbers or stats behind any of this stuff, then point us in the right direction and tell us more. Oh, one of my favorites that actually has been plussed up. Dust Explosion. So if you don't know what Dust Explosion is, Dust Explosion essentially allows you to proc an AoE attack that will explode on all the enemies in the vicinity, and it does X amount of damage and has a high chance, normally always inflicts a blast bite for me. But Paradise, have you had
this is a move, and all Elder Dragons have a blank move like this where it's random enemies with a high chance to inflict a status, and those moves I feel like I was sleeping on up until maybe like 4 or 5 days ago. The reason that I was sleeping on them is that there are blank slots, so they were interrupting my bingo bonuses, which I was really trying to like min-max out. And it's like an AoE move, it costs 20, but that's not too expensive for an AoE, but it's like random enemies. The damage isn't spectacular, but it is decent. And so initially I actually took these off and replaced it with other things on my Elder Dragons, but I've actually since gone back and farmed more Elder Dragons to get these blank skills and put them back on. I'm trying to like plus them because the cost of the move is so cheap for an AoE with a high status chance that alone is worth it. But the fact that your monster does this regularly when you have that charge, like as soon as you've got 20 charge, he's probably going to do a Dust Explosion on his own. And then you're looking at PvP, and if he does a Dust Explosion, you're not ever going to lose a head-to-head with that because it's like a blank skill, right?
Yeah.
You might get hit back, but you're not going to lose and give the opponent like maximum bar and a huge chunk of damage on you. So I do think that these moves on all the Elder Dragons, this one particularly is really good because Blast Blight is a very strong status. So I would say you definitely want to keep that on your Teostra.
Next up, we have Fire Plus. I think you're doing it wrong if you don't have these on your elemental monsters, these damage boosts and these kind of crazy stat boost. Basically, I've got this double plus, so it seriously boosts fire attack. We don't know if there's elemental caps in the game at the moment, so we don't know if we're wasting points by speccing into this. Maybe there's no way to get over like the maximum amount of bars that it shows in the Monsterpedia, but for now I'm putting it on, and it seemed when I did put it on that my Teostra did substantially more damage than he did before, so I've opted to keep it on my Teostra. And you should try to spec these in on your monsters where you can. And obviously there are monsters that have a higher chance to spawn these once you are out in the world as well. And I know, is there any monster that you haven't put like this double boost on?
The corresponding like elemental attack up is on every single monster I use. Fully XL, double plus. It's literally an attack bonus for your monster, and it's a substantial one. I think you would be doing it wrong not to use it, unless, like you said, there is some behind the scenes stat cap, which would suck if there is. But when I put this on my monsters, I saw like an across the board increase in damage. So
there's a bunch of things that we won't be able to know about the game until like we get some information or some details on it, such as like how to max out crit rate, what's the maximum amount that you can get on that stuff. So we're kind of shooting in the dark until like the developers give us more information, or somebody collates all this stuff and does all the testing or gets the information out there for us to really consume, and then we can be even more optimal about our stuff and spec out skills. But for now, we're kind of going in with our testing that we've done in PvP so far, so this will be our best bet. Then we have Bombardier. There you go.
This could be the key as to why Blast Blight is so horribly strong in PvP. I use this on my Teostra as well. Like, if you're using Blast Blight moves, it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is I don't know if this increases Blast Blight damage or the inflict chance. I'm guessing damage, because there's a different skill for inflict chance increase, which is for like all statuses. But it's a no-brainer. You're dealing Blast Blight damage or statuses to people, so increasing the damage of it is easy, and it's a power fire one, so you're gonna get that bingo with your with your like a fire attack up or whatever other power moves you're using. So it's a good one.
Why am I being stupid? Why have I not actually tried like a Mega Barrel Bomb in PvP using this as well? Oh no, but
it's on your monster.
It's on my monster, so how does that even work?
I think you get this skill on armor and talismans for your player. So for your player, it's like Blast Blade or Explosives. For your monster, it's Blast Blades.
Okay. I need to try that out. On my thing, because I do have a talisman that has that on. And then the last skill is Fireball, which is not even boosted. I don't even think you need to boost this skill, essentially, because it does so much damage anyway. Anything more on it will probably just wipe the person out from like full bar. But Supernova, XL, when you get this ability off, is basically GG for whoever's on the other team, unless they've got like something that's heavily fire defensive in terms of like having fire defense boosts and stuff like that. But Supernova on this monster is like one of the coolest skills to not only look at, but to really just like pop off in a game, because it does mass damage to both enemies on the screen. And let's go through the skill. So deals massive. So the different keywords there are like light, medium, heavy, massive, and this is massive fire damage to all enemies, which is the highest it can be, and has a high chance to inflict burn for 3 turns. But you can obviously see here it is 54 on the kinship bar, and this is why we have the soul kinship bar thing skill going on that boosts our kinship gauge rate. And Paradise, have you popped on a supernova on me? But you've got Calamity Slash. Calamity Slash is really and that's what this basically
I think is. I have used it on you the few times I brought Teostra into PvP, and it is it's his best move. Like if you have it's like you say, Calamity Slash is a good example because it costs about the same on Nergigante. It does massive damage, the same as this, but Nergigante's Calamity Slash debuffs his defense and gives him a huge passive health regen, whereas this one puts burn on things. So it's like there's a difference there. But the massive damage, if it crits, is enough to one-shot things in PvP. Like even like if you crit this on my character and I don't have anything to like stay alive above 50% health, it will one-shot me. Just like Calamity Slash will one-shot you on a critical hit. So this is a really good move. It's like a staple. I would plus it, like more damage, more burn chance.
Yeah, I don't know
if you
can this crit though. I don't know, because these flame moves, a lot of them can't crit, so maybe this can't crit. But I know even without the crit, it does enough damage to basically like one shot you, like regardless of what health you're.
The burn is horrible as well. Yeah. Like I think I would rather have burn than have the health regen, lower defense of Nergigante's skill. Like burn is like just more aggressive. It's an annoyance in PvP because you don't want to spend a turn clearing it, and if you don't clear it, you're gonna take like probably half of your health and damage, maybe a little bit less over the course of 3 turns. So
cool. So let's talk about some skills that I'm thinking about putting on. And it's one that I really started off with at my very first match with Paradise. And I just never went back to it, but I know it's a nasty skill that is waiting to happen. So let me see if I can actually find it. So this ability, I have not put on another monster, but I feel like this is the key to victory. So let me tell you about Heat Beam, Paradise. And why it's going to be nasty. Heat Beam on the tin sounds like it's just okay, right? It's just going to do a massive beam. But the thing is, it functions like a bow charge. Like, think about that for a second.
This is the charged one, right? So you're losing a turn, and then next turn, I think that one's AoE, defense ignoring, and high chance to burn, and fire damage.
Exactly.
I think I actually did try this move out. In my playthrough when I was using Black Gravios in my party. Yeah. And in PvE, I wasn't too impressed by it in my leveling experience. But in PvP, this move could be kind of nuts because it's defense ignoring as well, which is like... I don't know how good those defense ignoring moves quite are. I will say, though, if you go to regular Gravios, he has a same turn, single target version of the skill.
Yeah, but like I think the benefit of this is... you want the next turn one, because say if I did a charge on one turn and then I did a bombing run and the charge, you're kind of in a pickle there, right?
Oh wait, so you're saying you can do an attack next turn as well?
Yeah.
I'm sure it doesn't. Are you sure it doesn't take up your next attack?
I think it doesn't take up your next turn because I've definitely done it and it's just shot off by itself basically. So it functions
Because
like
I've done
a
this
power
move in
shot.
PvE and I don't remember it being like that, but maybe it was and I'm misremembering. Maybe I used
maybe
other
I'm
Gravios
misremembering. Maybe I'm misremembering, but we'll find out about that like at a later date for you guys and go through it. But it's one of the ones that I'm thinking about, and obviously the other one is, where did you say the heat up was? Was it?
I think it's
Glavinus?
yeah, I think it's the blank one, maybe. Fierce Heat.
Fierce Heat slightly increases the user's fire attack and defense. I want something that's a bit more oomph than slightly. Maybe if we double it up or triple it up, it will go to like greatly increased or whatever. But we want something along these lines that is like increases the users the monster's damage for X amount of turns, so that I can get more damage off. The only thing that is really scary about using these abilities is that the monster will default to using this quite a lot and can put you in kind of like a pickle almost, because Paradise brought that up as a point before.
Yeah. I just didn't like when in PvE, when my monsters were doing a self buff when they were being targeted. It always happened whenever they were being targeted with the head-to-head, so that I had to spend points to make them actually attack. But PvP is a totally different like thing entirely, and buffs I think might actually end up being quite good. Would you like a Paradise special skill recommendation if you have it? Do you have an Ash Catchawacha or whatever you call them?
I think I have like literally like one Ash Catcher.
There. All back and up. Yep. Okay, so you were thinking about getting rid of Ignition Breath, which was your technical attack.
Yeah.
That middle one, the gold one, Fire Fluid Splash, 24 cost. Yep. Medium to all, so it's an AoE and that medium burn chance as your technical option. So this is kind of like the Dust Explosion, but it does burn instead of Blast Blind, and it's hitting everything, and you have that chance. So this is actually what I'm using on my Teostra for the technical attack, and it's been working pretty nicely for me as like a sort of cheaper AoE option that will give you that technical attack if you need it.
I definitely will. I need to see what else is coming. Maybe even the Palamute might have like some really good like genes on it as well. I want to see that. Does anyone know if scanning in any of the amiibo gives you like any monsties or anything like that with genes? Because I know in Stories 1 or some Stories game they said that scanning in monsters would give you like stuff with like genes and stuff like that. So I don't know.
That's nuts if that's the case.
I want to know. I want to know. Anyway, guys, that is it for this video. But Paradise has got some really cool content coming out on his channel, so go definitely check that out. And what are those videos that they should be checking out, Paradise?
We're going to be talking about the Greatsword and how it's actually amazing.
Cool.
And we're going to be doing an SR ticket egg opening, 12 eggs from SR co-op expeditions, and maybe something else as well.
Nice. So we'll definitely be back with more videos for you guys in the future. But other than that, bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can subscribe so you don't miss another video.